something separating me from the food chain, and I just slept right through that. Biology says this should be a death sentence, to shut down your senses at night. It's like suicide.
Yet humans evolved to be one of the deepest sleepers of all primates. Why did nature design us to be so vulnerable? The answer is probably our superpower. You ready? Let's go. There's nothing more biologically reckless than what you're about to do tonight. You will lie down. Your major muscle groups will be voluntarily paralyzed. You might even hallucinate vividly for hours. And you will completely disconnect your consciousness from this apparent world. For 99% of human history, this was a death wish. But for our ancestors, this was a nightly reality. We evolved on the savanna, surrounded by leopards, hyenas, and cats with teeth as sharp as steak knives. By all evolutionary logic, the first human to sleep for 8 hours should have been the first human eaten, which begs the question, how did a creature so fragile in the dark outlast the predators that were trying to hunt it? It turns out the secret to our survival wasn't a sharper spear. It was a better way to sleep. Sleep isn't a break from our survival. It's one of the most aggressive survival strategies that we have. To grasp the miracle of our survival, you have to understand just how terrifying the prehistoric night actually was. For our early ancestors like Australopithecus and early Homo erectus, we were not the top of the food chain. We're most definitely on the menu. This is called the Predation Paradox. We were soft, slow, supposedly delicious snacks just laying right there on the predator's turf. You can't possibly get into deep REM sleep when you're constantly worried about possibly falling to your death 40 feet down to the forest floor. If the fall won't kill you, then the predators will. But about 2 million years ago, our likely ancestors made a bold move, likely sparked by our increasing body mass. Rude! Putting too much stress on the branches. Well, that's probably when we came down from the trees and started sleeping on the ground. To survive, we had to change how we slept. The first solution was an evolutionary masterstroke. When you compare humans to other primates, something startling becomes clear. We sleep far less than we should. And this is the sleep intensity hypothesis. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, sleep about 9.5 hours a day. And we sleep on average just 7 hours a day. We are the shortest sleeping primates on Earth, and we're the most efficient. We cram more REM, rapid eye movement, and deep, slow wave sleep into a shorter window. We basically evolved to be the power nappers of the primate kingdom. We get in, we find that restoration, and we get out before the predator finds us. But we didn't just rely on efficiency. We deployed chemical warfare. Oh, damn it, that was poison oak. At Border Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found the world's oldest human bedding, dating back 200,000 years. It wasn't just a pile of soft grass. They found our ancestors built their grassy beds on layers of ash. Why ash? On a microscopic level, ash is jagged and dehydrating. It blocks the breathing and biting apparatus of ticks and other crawling insects and desiccates their bodies. It also provides a layer of insulation. Researchers also found traces of camphor bush, which also repels mosquitoes. And I'm sure they utilized other medicinal herbs that repel mosquitoes, but it's kind of hard for those plant materials to stick around for so long. So 200-ish years ago, we weren't just sleeping in the dirt. We were engineering chemical-treated, pest-free mattresses. Then came our greatest innovation, the control of the fire. Fire was more than a tool. It was our shield against the dark, a barrier to keep nocturnal predators at bay. It turned the night from a time of terror to a time of community, and the hearth became the heart of human society. In a future video, we'll be discussing how the campfire brought so much more to us, even physiologically, than just food, community, safety. I'll give you a hint, it has near infrared light in it too. Okay, so we built forts, became keepers of the flame, and slept hard and fast. But then why go unconscious at all? Why not just rest quietly? Because of the trash. Your brain is the most metabolically active organ you have, and it produces large amounts of toxic waste. I mean, the trash cans were right here. How freaking hard is it? This includes toxic levels of proteins like beta amyloid and tau. During your waking hours, these are beneficial proteins, but they tend to mass accumulate and build up in between your brain cells. If they stay there, they can kill your neurons, forming plaques attributed to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. But here's the catch. You can't clean house while you're having a party. Your brain can't flush these toxins while it's busy processing the world. This cleaning process only happens via the Glymphatic System, a system that was kind of newly recognized in the 2010 eras. When you hit deep, slow wave sleep, something amazing happens.
Your brain cells actually shrink, increasing the space between them by as much as 60%. Then, cerebrospinal fluid rushes in and power cleans all of the toxins away.
You aren't just resting, you're undergoing a hydraulic deep cleaning. You're unconscious because your brain is busy taking a shower. So now our ancestors are sleeping less, but more deeply, in a pest-free bed next to the fire. But a group of unconscious people next to a fire still seems like a tempting target. Now this brings us to the most powerful part of our survival strategy, the Sentinel hypothesis. In a group, it's always safer if someone is at least partially awake to act like a watchdog. There was a study of the Hadza people from Tanzania, one of the very last hunter-gatherer groups on Earth. The Hadza sleep in a group of approximately 20 to 30 people in an open savanna-type environment with plenty of predators. Researchers tracked their sleep and the results were astounding. Over an entire 20-day period, there was a total of only 18 minutes where every single adult in the group was simultaneously fast asleep. So for 99.8% of the time, at least one adult was awake or in a very light stage of sleep. This wasn't an organized watch. It was the natural result of variations in our own internal body clocks or chronotypes. You might also know this as being an early bird or a night owl. It's funny because it turns out that that isn't just a modern quirk. It's a deeply ingrained survival mechanism strongly correlated with our chronological age. The younger adult members of the group were the night owls, staying up later. The older members of the group were the early birds, like the larks or the magpies, waking up well before dawn. The owls guarded the first half of the night, and the early birds guarded the vulnerable pre-dawn hours. This totally means that the grandparent who seems to sleep poorly these days isn't suffering from a disorder, they're performing an ancient vital function. This strategy turned a group of vulnerable individuals into a single superorganism with constantly scanning consciousness. This trade-off between rest and vigilance isn't unique to us. Look at a raft of ducks sleeping on a pond. The ducks on the ends of the row, the ones exposed to danger, will literally keep one eye open. One half of their brain stays awake to watch for predators, while the other half sleeps. This is called uni-hemispheric slow wave sleep. What about the ducks in the middle? Well, they get to sleep with both eyes closed. I guess it pays to have friends. This strategy is also common to marine life. Dolphins and whales are conscious breathers, which means they have to think about every breath. So for them to sleep without drowning, they rest one hemisphere of their brain at a time, keeping the other side of their brain awake to stay alert and to manage their breathing. And sea otters have an even more charming solution. They hold hands with each other to create a raft so they don't float away. We currently can't sleep with only half of our brain, so we improvised. We created a social unihemispheric brain where different individuals act as specialized hemispheres. These stories have implications implications for our lives today. We've created an evolutionary mismatch where our ancient biology clashes with our modern world. We're seeing the last of the days of the rigid 9-to-5 workday, where one schedule is imposed upon people with diverse chronotypes. I believe we can move past a society that tells a night owl that they're lazy, or where the early waking grandparent is told that they have a sleep disorder. It's crazy because we're pathologizing the very diversity that kept us alive. The story about how we survived the night isn't about dominance, it's about cooperation. We survive by being smart, social, and adaptable. So the next time you see the different sleep schedules in your own family as a potential problem, just remember the ancient watchmen in your own DNA. Remember the owls and the early birds, all playing their own part in a long, unbroken vigil. This legacy isn't a flaw, it's a whisper from our ancestors, reminding us that we survived not in spite of our need for sleep, but because we learned to sleep together. Well, let's sleep well. Come on, pup. I thought that was a deer.